Hey, what's up everyone? Danny Lightning back with another video. We are going to check out the Fabfilter Pro C2 for VoiceOver. I know this thing has a lot going on. It looks very complicated. I am going to make this so simple. A person that's never used a compressor before should be able to dial this in about 30 seconds. When you open up this compressor, you're going to see the stock settings, and I'm going to show you exactly what to change here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our release to 100 milliseconds. 100 milliseconds is just about perfect, so set that to 100 and forget about it. You're done with that one. Now we're going to go ahead and set our attack. So you can set the attack anywhere between 1 millisecond and 3 milliseconds. You're probably not going to hear that much of a difference, but I usually go with 1 millisecond myself on this particular compressor. And that's really all you have to do is set the attack to 1 millisecond and you should be good to go. The next thing you notice is a little setting that says style, and then you got a bunch of options here. If you click that, you're going to see clean, classic, opto, vocal, mastering, buzz, punch, and pumping. Normally I just put that on clean. That gives us a really nice sound. So go ahead and choose clean and then you're done with that setting. Now the next thing you're going to see is the ratio. I'm going to set the ratio to 3.00.1. That is a 3-to-1 ratio. Finally, we have our threshold, and the threshold setting is basically how much compression you're getting. So what we're going to do is we are going to move that threshold until we notice this little bar on the right starts compressing. You're going to see that little bit red bar on the right hand side start coming down. On your normal speaking voice, you want to see maybe 1 to 2 to 3 decibels of compression at the most. If that starts going down past 3, then you've probably got a little bit too much compression, and then you want to back off on your threshold just a little bit. Now, one thing you're going to notice is an auto release setting. I do not turn that on. I always leave the auto release turned off. And the next thing you're going to see is an auto gain. You can turn that on if you want to. I would suggest for somebody starting out, turn off the auto gain, don't use it, okay? What the auto gain does is it realizes, hey, we just compressed this by like 3 decibels, so now our signal is 3 decibels quieter. Let's go ahead and turn that back up by 3 decibels, but it just kind of takes a rough guess, so I'd rather boost it myself instead of had the program do it. Now, if you look at these other settings, you're going to see a wet gain and a dry gain. Now the wet gain is to turn the entire volume up a little bit after you've got your compression. Let's just say if your volume's not loud enough and you need to turn it up, you can move the wet gain up to where you need it to be. The dry gain, I usually do that at minus 12.00. That gives a little bit of the original signal back in with the compressed signal, which in my opinion sounds much better for voiceovers. Now you've got the hold. I always leave the hold off. The look ahead, I don't turn that on. The range, plus 60, and the knee, I always set the knee to 24, and that's really all there is to it. You are really good to go. Once you dial in that threshold, you set all these settings up, dial in that threshold, and you are good to go. You're also going to see there is an entire sidechain section in here, and for a person doing voiceover, you don't need to mess with the sidechain. Just leave that as is. Don't touch it. Don't mess with it. You'll be way better off and you won't get frustrated and be going, oh my God, what's going on here, and pulling your hair out. So don't touch the side chain. Just leave it. Now, when you talk, you are going to see all the little spikes going up and down, up and down, up and down as this moves. Don't worry too much about that, but you're going to see the little dotted line so you can see where it's cutting off the top of those spikes. So that's basically what that's telling you. That way you can see how much of the signal is being cut off. Plus, you've got the little red bar that comes down. Normally, I just watch the little red bar. I don't even need to pay attention to, you know, what else is going on. But it's very nice that it shows you that, because some people are going to be very interested to see how that works or exactly what it's doing. And it does show you. But for now, this is just a simple setup. That's not something you really need to worry about at the moment. There is one more setting that I want to go over, which is oversampling. I can't really tell a difference whether I turn the oversampling on or off. But, you know, it's a little bit harder on your computer. It takes up a little more resources to have the oversampling on. If you can, you know, if it's not slowing down your computer, I would probably do a 2x or a 4x oversampling, but that's up to you whether you want to run it or not. You probably won't be able to hear the difference for a voiceover, to tell you the truth. So here's a quick little recap and rundown. So the first thing you do is set your release to 100 milliseconds. Set your attack to about 1.00 to 2.00, maybe 3.00 milliseconds. Go ahead and set the style to clean. Set the ratio to 3-to-1. adjust your threshold till you're getting the proper amount of compression. Set the dry gain to -12. If your track is not loud enough, you need to turn up the volume of your voice. That's when you're going to adjust the wet gain and boost that up. You can turn on the oversampling if you want. Make sure the knees set to 24. You know, the range, the range here, I just leave that to +60, and then you're pretty much good to go. Your compressor is set up as long as you got that threshold dialed into the correct point. If you overcompress, it's going to sound like crap. If you undercompress, well, it's not really going to be doing anything. The whole point of a compressor is when you get loud and yell, it's going to turn down the volume. It's going to try and bring the louder sounds and the closer sounds closer together. That way you're not blowing out somebody's ears. That way when you get loud, your mic's not distorting. It's just a really good thing to give your listener a better listening experience. All right, so hopefully this made it really easy to understand. Just set it up like I told you, get that threshold dialed in, and you're going to have some compression that is working awesome. It's going to turn you down when you get loud. It won't blow out your listeners' ears. They will thank you for it. This is about as simple as it gets. VoiceOver compression is actually very easy. When you're doing music, it gets a lot more complicated because you're going to start using that attack and the release and all kinds of stuff to make your vocal set behind the mix, on top of it, in front of it. There's a lot going on with vocal compression for music, but when you're doing a voiceover, it's a very, very simple process. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are all amazing. Lightning out. Have an awesome day. See ya.